All right, Chelsea fans, welcome to the London is Blue YouTube channel. This is a clip from our entire month in review episode. We talk about the men's team, the women's team, our favorite goals, favorite result, surprise. There's a lot of different things we unpack. But again, if you're interested in hearing more, check us out on your favorite podcast player. We love Apple Podcasts. There's also Stitcher, there's Spotify. There's many ways you can listen to us, but go subscribe there so you don't miss an episode. Otherwise, enjoy the clip. We put out a video pretty much every single day. So if you like that, subscribe to our channel, like this video if you like it, and comment what was your favorite part of November. Anyways, appreciate all of you Chelsea fans out there. And until next time, keep the blue flag flying high. All right, so Dan, you and your awards, right? Dan of the match. Now we've got Dan of the month, which again rolls off the tongue. I tell you what. So review us back, since it'll be our third of this season. Who the previous winners are, and kind of what's the criteria setting the stage.
Well, looking at the past 5 matches, which encompasses all of November, we had Werner versus Rennes, part 1. We had Ziyech versus Sheffield. We had Conte versus Newcastle. We had Mendy versus Rennes, part 2. And then we had Kovacic versus Spurs were our winners. But I mean, there were votes for Reece James across several of these. Giroud got some call outs. Tammy in a few matches gotten a couple bit of shouts too. And so, definitely a gamut of players to choose from. And what's great, Nick, is it's becoming difficult for us in this. We don't like to bemoan or say, oh my gosh, we have it so tough. It's so hard to pick from all these great performances. But that's the scenario, right? We actually have really great performances across several players.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is a zoom out moment, right? You don't necessarily, if you pick, the winner of one of the Dan of the Match polls, because that's just one moment in time. So you have to zoom out across the body of work. And the body of work tells you kind of one thing, which is really exciting this time, and that is N'Golo Kante is back. N'Golo Kante had a stellar month. I think I'm on the record as a fan of N'Golo Kante's work. And, I think Brandon made a point when, before we got on, which I will pass to him on. If you took him out of the lineup, where are we? Well, we're kind of where we are at the, in the Rennes match when things weren't going so hot, right? I mean, that was, kind of maybe the weakest performance of the month. So, I just think he's playing at a tremendous level right now. He's showing how just incredibly important he is to not only the balance of the squad, but the way that this team is starting to gel, and his destroyer attitude, Brandon, is 100% back to, pre-injury levels, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like the only match he didn't play this month was that Rennes, and he came on as a sub semi early on. And not saying he scored, right? But we went on to win. So he definitely was a difference maker. And yeah, that's what, I was sitting there trying to force a little creativity, which is tough, for artists of such high level of myself, this mind. But that was the criteria I used was if you pulled out Mendy, you're probably screwed. If you pull out Conte, you're probably screwed. But I just felt like, our center backs are much better than they were in front of Kepa last season. So while Mendy is doing a lot, I bet those guys could prevent more getting through to Kepa than we've seen in the past. And just N'Golo Kante's ability to run down everything, protect the back line, jumpstart the offense, just is so dynamic. I've admitted my mistakes of saying stupid things in the past about him. I will continue to confess my sins, but N'Golo Kante is like world class, next level. He is what makes this team click in a lot of different ways, Dan. And the fact that you didn't choose N'Golo Kante and you chose, Emerson Palmieri is it's mind-boggling, honestly.
Wow, I don't think Emerson Palmieri was even in discussion for a Dan of the Match poll this month, and probably has not been for this season.
Wild card Dan.
Well, there was the 4 Ziyech's for the match against Sheffield United. So, I mean, look, play by my own set of rules here. But N'Golo Kante was it. I mean, he clean sweeps it here. I think the next one up, who would have been close for me, was Reece James. I think he has continued to level up. Just the way he bodied Kane in that last match was phenomenal. His pockets were a little bit heavier, much like Kante. They were splitting loads between the two of them. But in general, it was great to see Kante back, what we kind of described, to see James continue to level up. And I think Mendy would have also been a great shout too. A couple of times he was called upon, he was able to deliver the save we needed.
Well, I mean, it's what we talked about, right? It was hard. It was hard for me to not think about Tammy. It was hard for me to not think about my runner-up, which was Ziyech. You think about the way he started the month. His performance against Sheffield, I think, is probably our best performance of the season from an individual to this point. Now, I put a note in our script here. If he would have had a better performance against Spurs, he might have just nipped it for me. But I think the way that Kante has been consistently performing is just the difference maker, and he is well deserving of the Dan of the Month award.
Is that what we're going to call it now? Okay, settled, done.
I don't love it.
Again, N'Golo Kante only held back by the ridiculous standard he has set for himself. And bummer, you're so good. I wonder if he still drives that little Mini. And he just is like this crazy humble guy. I wonder if he's upgraded since he got that bumper contract recently. Probably not.